If you're looking for precision when you're sewing, a Bernina is a fabulous machine to start with. I'm Megan with Rocky Mountain Sewing and Vacuum, and today we're going to be talking about sewing on the Bernina 790 Pro. This machine is the newest machine from Bernina, and as always with all Berninas, it really does do a fabulous stitch. They've added a whole bunch of new features as well, which I think you will really enjoy. So let's dive right in. So right away, I'm on the sewing screen of my machine, and there's a couple things that Bernina has done in the past that I still just absolutely love that they do. So one is that they've got this huge screen. It's about 7.9 inches, so you can really see what you're doing. On the screen, it actually shows you a display of the foot that you have selected so that you know what that's going to look like as you're sewing. And it shows you the real life view of the stitch. So it's going to be as big as it's going to be on the fabric, which how nice is that, so that you can tell, oh, you know, that decorative stitch is too big for what I'm trying to do, or anything like that. I love that because I love to hem things with the decorative stitches, so it's really nice to know how big that thing is going to be. You'll notice on the side of the screen here, there's a couple new icons, including the Wi-Fi icon, and then my ultimate favorite is the new needlepoint laser. And that needlepoint laser is nice because it shows exactly where your needle's going to drop every time. So if you're choosing a different stitch, like a zigzag, that needlepoint laser is also going to hop side to side so that you know where your zigzag's going to lie. It's really nice for serging stitches, applique, any of those things and techniques where you really need to make sure you catch the edge of the fabric. It's perfect for. There are a couple other sewing features that I just love that Bernina does, including if I go here to that little needle plate and needle button, I can tell it what needle plate I have on, so I get the perfect stitching. It will adjust it accordingly. And also, if I have something like a 5.5 millimeter or a 0 millimeter stitch plate on, it won't let me move the needle further than the needle plate will allow. That prevents you from breaking needles, goofing up your timing on your machine. It really is just a great safeguard. It also has this little needle with a bow in it. What that does is you can see what the eyes of all the needles look like. You can tell it what needle is in your machine and what size needle it is, so it can make any micro adjustments it needs to for the needle in your machine. So I just think those are cool features that Bernina has continued doing, and I think that's great. It does also have the Creative Consultant, which, this one's fun. What I like about the Creative Consultant is that, hang on, let me get back to the other screen. I was excited and exploring earlier. It actually shows you an icon of what all the different types of fabric we usually sew on are, and gives you the words. So once upon a time, we had to hit the question mark and then the button to figure out which one it was. Now it just tells us right away. So I can tell you this is lightweight knit, or excuse me, lightweight woven, because it's just cotton. So that's what I've got selected on my screen. So it will adjust so that the fabric and the tension and everything is going to be the right way. And if I go into that, it gives me the different techniques that I can do with it. If I say I'm just going to do a seam, it tells me what stitch to use, what needle to use, what thread to use, and what presser foot to use. So it makes it nice and easy for you. The other thing built into this machine, which I don't have the proper foot to use right now, is it does have a dual feed function. So what that dual feed does is it does add feed dogs to the top of your fabric as well as the bottom, to work sort of like a walking foot, to feed all those layers of fabric perfectly for you. I love using this when I'm garment sewing because it helps feed those knits and tricky fabrics through. But a lot of quilters like to do it too for straight line quilting and also for piecing. Of course, Bernina does have a walking foot available too, but the fact that that is just built into the machine, it makes it so much easier when you don't know where your walking foot is, or the store is closed because it's Sunday or anything. So you have a built-in feature for that. But while we're on the sewing side, let's get to sewing, shall we? So I'm going to go ahead and put my presser foot on, get my fabric underneath, and you can see when I put my fabric underneath there, you can see that needlepoint laser. So I know exactly where that needle's going to drop. There we go. Remember, on your Bernina, you can move your stitch width and stitch length, and I love doing that with this needlepoint laser because it'll show you exactly what it is. It won't show the stitch length, but on the screen, it changes the size for me. So I'm going to go ahead and put those back to default. And then I'm going to go ahead and sew. Do you hear how quiet it sews too? And it's perfectly straight. I hardly even have to feed the fabric. I just got to make sure I'm paying attention so I don't pull too much. So I've got my fabric. I use the automatic thread cutter, which if you don't have one, you should get one. It's amazing. And look at that seam. It's beautiful. So when you're seaming different fabrics together, the Bernina will be fantastic for you. But I just realized I forgot to actually show you the needle threader. And why would I do that? It's a fantastic feature. So the needle threader is not like we're used to. It used to be this little thing that goes here. You have to kind of do a song and dance, get it in there. It was easy enough, but not as easy as this one. So this one, I just bring the thread through, click it back. I can cut the thread to be the perfect tail length, and then I just push a button. Voila! How easy is that? So when I'm piecing with, you know, I already have a jumbo bobbin, but when it's time for me to refill this jumbo bobbin, when I have to rethread the machine, it's not singing a song and dance and hoping, it actually just goes right away. How wonderful is that? So I hope you enjoyed this overview of the sewing side of the Bernina 790 Pro. If you want to check it out yourself, I highly recommend doing that. Any of our 4 stores at Rocky Mountain Sewing and Vacuum would love to show you. We have them on the floor, and you will love sewing on the Bernina 790 Pro.